Okay, part 2 of 3. This is really interesting. Okay. Um, I mean, what I just saw was interesting. This being this video, who knows? Okay. Um, the thing, okay, first of all, I want to say about the missing links. It's interesting you say that the bioevolutionary theory is that we wiped people out, because I've watched that controversy, and I don't think we're allowed to say that that's the consensus yet. People hint at it with the Neanderthals because there was a strong group that really, really believed that, and I have to admit I started to go with that. Now that you talked about talking in videos, what was that about the hobbits? They found some sort of a hobbit. What's that?
Some missing link.
Short person thing that we didn't, not an ancestor, right, but a cousin.
Yeah, another cousin, I believe.
So it's not that we wiped out our ancestors per se. That kind of works like that, but in a way. But remember, like in the sense, of course, that the chimpanzee is not our ancestor. It's just that they're more like that ancestor we had. It was 6 million years ago since we had a common grandparent. Okay, since we were both the same. And the thing is, so some of our ancestors have split off species that did okay, and they're missing now. Our cousins. Okay, so not our ancestors. It's an interesting thing too, because I know in Greek mythology it seems really common. I think it seems to happen where the gods eat their parents and things like this. And it's sort of like killing the parent species is a different idea. It's bad, but really it's impossible because your parent species dies off. So all there is to kill is your cousin that looks more like your parent. And I don't think that that's the issue, that they look like your parent. I think that it's their competitors, that all of these cousins are fighting it out. Because, if you go back to the chimpanzee, you see the chimpanzee is a pretty warlike, violent animal. The northern chimpanzee, where there's the bonobo, which is closely related but separated by whatever million years, a couple million years, from the north, the chimpanzee split, and it's a much more Dionysian species, which is a very interesting thing. So there's that dichotomy there. But with a lot more common chimps around, if I sort of think that they found out that we split from the chimps, 6 million years ago, and then a million years after that, it looks like we re-hooked up. And I don't know, but it looks to me a little bit like the chimpanzees started to migrate towards Ethiopia, and they would have a chance to breed again, and that humans probably have both of these kinds of genes. And if so, that would explain, since there's such a genetic difference, one is more warlike, okay, and aggressive, and that alpha male idea, and the other one has a matriarchal society where there's a lot of free sex, and just for when they have sex as sexual acts as just greetings and stuff. So it's an interesting dichotomy that you see between the Dionysian and then this other side of human beings, and which one dominates as well. Because there was a lot more northern chimps. Also interesting is that there was a drought in the north, and that led to the aggressiveness. So these things may have just simple explanations that when we realize, maybe we can say, well, are we in a drought now? No? Okay, well, we can use this skill. On the other hand, I do like a lot of the cold hard reality of life kind of approach to these things, which may be less bonobo and more common chimp. Okay, 4 minutes already, that's a problem. Okay, now, when you talk about territorial, you said other animals are just as territorial. I agree that there's other animals that wish they were as territorial, but I don't think any animal is more successfully territorial than humans. Okay, killing, and by territorial here, there's a lot of meanings in a general context, but in this one we're talking about clearing out 6 million years of cousins. So I mean killing all competitive species, which may not really be competitive, but they're perceived as it. That's the territorial part. It's like they're in your territory, therefore they could be killed. And it's where you kill not for nutrition. Okay. Now, you also were talking about our bodies are weak. Now, that's kind of an old canard, and I have believed that, and I can remember in the past arguing that to many people. So I will say I grant that point in general, the spirit. But in reality, after thinking about it more, the human body is amazing, even in a wild environment. Now, it's true that you can't really use it without intellect. Okay, so it does require intellect. But if you were to separate its abilities from intellect, nonetheless, we can go in every environment. We can go in water, underwater, surface of water. We can go climb into a tree. We can jump into a cave. Now the intellect starts to play more and more a role because it's like, given a little bit of time, we can make a cave. But then again, that's not such a big deal. Almost every mammal can make a cave, so to speak, a hole, a hovel, and find a little crack where the dirt's soft enough to make a little home. But we can do that in every other thing. And given enough time, we've even taken to the air and some other pretty amazing examples. And it is related to our intellect and our desire to mimic other animals. So I think our bodies are actually pretty strong. Still, as I already admitted in the other video, it is that our intellect that really saved us because, the ability to jump in the water or climb a tree or run as fast as you can or dodge around a corner, to use all those different possibilities requires an intellect, not coincidentally, that can say, well, if I run here, this will happen, in the split second. So it's still the intellect, but I like to attack that old canard. I think maybe you'll understand that, right? Because you know what I mean? The human body is actually a little more amazing. It's not just the opposable thumb, but it's the whole flexibility. We can reach every part of our body. Most animals can't do that. You can go to the beach and take every bit of sand off. Little bits of sand will get caught under each hair on your leg. You can take every single one of those off. It won't even take, more than an hour. You might not bother. Just wash them off, and a couple days later, there's sand caked to your legs, still fine. But you can do that. Most animals in their lifetime can't take all the sand off of their bodies. And that might seem a simple thing, but it's and again, you can say it invokes intellect, but it's also, the fact we're hairless, and just the flexibility. Our bodies are made to fit this intellect, but as such, they're amazingly flexible tools. So even though most other animals are faster, sharper claws, sharper teeth, quicker, stronger in a lot of ways, you still do pretty good one-on-one with nature and animals because of just because of your body. Though the intellect definitely, I wouldn't want to just rely on my physical abilities. And as I say, to a certain degree, because the physical abilities are flexibility, they require intellect. I might have to make 2 video replies to this one. Now, okay, let's go really quick. I would say other animals have technologies. I was going to say I personally would consider spiders as having a technology. Okay, it's evolved in, but I've watched them do amazing engineering and cut leaves out of their webs and stuff. If not them, how about chimps? There's chimps, and different chimps have different kinds of technology. A lot of them use sticks to get at bugs, but there's this one that uses 2 sticks and one to grind it open, and another, and also frays and prepares the stick. And these things can be learned. It's been seen, and if not that, because chimps are so close to humans, maybe birds have used sticks. And I think this is technology, but maybe you don't think so. But you'd have to basically, the challenge is to define technology then, because I think all those elements are there, at least in part. Now, humans may have taken it to the best degree, so you can always say, well, technology is the degree where other animals haven't taken it. But in principle, right? Okay, I have about half of these to go, so I'm going to make 2 video replies, but whatever.